Hello and welcome to your Focus on Sports. I'm Noah Chavez.
And I'm Carl Cook.
We start off with breaking news. The Cavender twins have entered the transfer portal. Fresno State's Haley and Hannah Cavender have entered the transfer portal after finishing their junior year. Haley announced their status in the portal via Twitter on Monday morning, stating, "We have prayed and talked to our family about what is best for our future. Hannah and I have decided to enter our names into the transfer portal." Haley and Hannah both broke records in the Mountain West and NCAA as a whole this season. It is not confirmed where the twins will end up next. We invite our colleague Holden Wheeler into the conversation, and I gotta ask, Holden, what are your thoughts on the Cavender twins leaving?
You know, can't say we didn't see this coming. The Cavender twins have always kind of felt like they were bigger than Fresno State. They were ranked first and third for total three-pointers this year, and first and second for total points, with Haley leading the way and Hannah being in second. And then even between that, there was a 150-point gap between second and third place. So it is going to be really hard to replace that production that they brought for the Fresno State women's basketball team. We'll just have to see where it goes.
It's unfortunate with all the hype that came in with them being, I believe, the first athletes to actually sign a major promotion. Carl, what are your thoughts?
You know, kind of like Holden said, it's tough to replace an impact like that. I mean, if you look at their entire tenure as a pair, they were first and third or first and second every statistical category. Replacing that kind of impact on a team is kind of like replacing LeBron James when he left the Cavaliers the first time. There was that impact and that gap where they weren't successful. The question is, how will the Bulldogs bounce back after two impactful players on and off the court?
You're right. I completely agree. It's going to be one of those situations where we're not going to know like how the Bulldogs are going to be able to handle not having their two best players, and because they're going to be transferring. It's almost a situation of where they know their self-worth. They know they're probably going to be better than Fresno State, and it's unfortunate, but they deserve every right to transfer out.
If you see how many NIL deals they have, it's safe to say, like you said, they know their worth.
After 99 days, the MLB lockout has ended. The announcement came on March 10th after the Players Association and the league agreed to a new 5-year CBA. This deal includes new rules such as the ban on shifting, larger bases, a pitch clock, and the introduction of robot umpires. Despite the cancellation of games to start the year, the league will still play a 162-game schedule. Spring training games are set to begin today, kicking off the season with the Twins and the Red Sox.
Even though the official NFL season is over, the league finds ways to make headlines in the offseason. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers re-signed with the Green Bay Packers on a 4-year extension. Quarterback Russell Wilson was traded from the Seattle Seahawks to the Denver Broncos. Quarterback Carson Wentz was traded to the Washington Commanders from Indianapolis. And outside linebacker Khalil Mack was traded to the Los Angeles Chargers from the Chicago Bears. Other teams around the league will look to improve their rosters as free agency began officially on March 16th.
After almost 2 months of announcing his retirement, Tom Brady says he is back and not ready to hang up the cleats. On Monday, Brady announced his return on social media and stated his place is still on the field and not on the stands. Tom Brady will now play his 23rd season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He will now become the oldest quarterback to start a game in NFL history at the age of 45.
The Fresno State men's basketball team wrapped up their conference season in Las Vegas with a heartbreaking second-round loss. The Dogs grazed past the SJSU Spartans, defeating them 69-67 in their third consecutive overtime game of the season in the first round. Fresno State advanced to the second round, where they were defeated 53-46 by San Diego State in a defensive battle.
A hard-fought game tonight. Very appreciative of our kids' effort all year long and their camaraderie and how hard they played and how hard they worked. I think everybody saw that.
Although the Dogs did not advance further in the championships, they still found success in the tournament. Junior guard Orlando Robinson scored 25 points in round 2 against San Diego State, leading Fresno State in scoring in what was potentially his last game as a Bulldog.
The Mountain West tournament may be over, but basketball isn't over for the men's squad just yet. The Fresno State men's basketball team accepted an invitation to participate in the 2022 Basketball Classic. This will be the Dogs' first postseason appearance since 2017. Round 1 of the tournament will be held at the Save Mart Center tonight against Eastern Washington University at 7 p.m.
Coming up after the break, we'll see how the Diamond Dogs did in their opening.
And I take you to the USPHL Pacific Division Final, where the Fresno Monsters are ready to hit the ice.
Here in the valley, our colors are blue and our waves are red. Bulldog born and Bulldog bred. Generations linked forever by traditions that have stood the test of time. Inside our stadiums, we are one. This is our valley, and this year, we're doing it for you.
At Fresno State, being bold means committing to something greater than yourself. It's learning by doing and nurturing leaders to advance our shared future. It's using research to create a better life for those around us and healing those who need us most. These are our stories, because at Fresno State, bold begins here.
Although we live in the Central Valley, we do know a thing or two about playing in the cold. I take you to Gateway Ice, where the local Fresno Monsters are playing in the USPHL Division Playoff. Here at Gateway Ice, the Monsters are back with fans watching for the first time as they take on the Thunderbirds of Las Vegas. Now the rules of this game are simple. We got 3 matches. Winner of 3 advances, loser goes home. But going home was not in the minds of the Monster players, and certainly not the fans. With a pretty sizable crowd in attendance braving the frigid cold air as their top-ranked Monsters clash with their rivals from the Sin City. In Game 1, leading 1-0, the Thunderbirds would keep things interesting by scoring 2 back-to-back goals in the first period. But that would be the final lead for Las Vegas, as the Monsters would power back with 9 scores, with Tyler McNeil, Nurik Akajian, and Stepan Shiversky keeping up with 2 scores each, finishing Game 1 with a final score of 10-4 for the Monsters. Coming into the second game of the series, the team was excited for the prospect of winning the Pacific Division Championship with this Game 2 matchup. In dominating fashion, the Monsters blew out the Thunderbirds with a final score of 10-2. Center Steven Skiversky went and had himself a night by putting up 3 scores, completing the hat trick. The Monsters are proving that they are a dangerous offense when they have the puck, with over 50 shots on goal compared to the Thunderbirds' 20. And they will need that powerful offense if they hope to win it all for the Central Valley. With these 2-game wins against the Thunderbirds, the Monsters have clinched the USPHL Pacific Division. They will play for the national title starting March 24th in Hudson, New Hampshire.
The NHL regular season is wrapping up, but not before COVID-19 threatened its completion. A pause in play took place after a massive COVID-19 outbreak put 15% of players in virus protocols, resulting in a suspension of 50 games. The league is relaxing some of its protocols by ending testing of asymptomatic players and staff. Full steam ahead, the Tampa Bay Lightning will look to become only the 2nd team since 1983 New York Islanders to win 3 Stanley Cups in a row.
It is officially March Madness. The brackets came out Sunday. The first round games are already done. A lot goes into it. Let's break it down. There are 4 regions with 16 teams each. Whoever wins moves on. The number 1 seed plays the number 16th seed in the Western region. You see here, it's Gonzaga playing Georgia State, pulling out to see all 64 teams in all 4 regions. The final 2 teams will meet for the championship on April 4th. What are your thoughts on the Mountain West getting 4 teams into the field of 64 this year?
You know, I think it's really interesting that the Mountain West did get 4 teams in, as they usually don't get that much respect, but you have the Pac-12 getting 3 teams in, then you also have the West Coast Conference getting 3 teams in. Another thing I do find interesting about the seeding is the fact that Colorado State is ranked as a 6 seed, while Boise State is ranked as an 8 seed, while Boise State won the Mountain West normal season championship as well as the tournament championship, so something's not adding up there for me.
So Boise State is going up against Memphis. You have Colorado State against Michigan, San Diego State with Creighton, and then Wyoming against Indiana. Holden, do you see any upsets coming in any of those 4 matches?
You know, I'm taking Creighton in that one.
Got to say, it'll be an interesting weekend considering this is the 19th time in conference history, Noah, to have 2+ teams in the big dance. Even though Fresno State in it, it's exciting to see that our conference is putting an impact in this
Right.
advance.
We're no longer just going to be in the back watching from the stands. We actually have legitimate teams in the Mountain West going to be playing for the March Madness tournament, something that I feel like we've been slowly been gaining up to over these past upcoming years.
It's very unpredictable too, because usually when you consider Kansas or Duke or one of these teams that make it every year, you never know with how much is going in with the NIL impacting college players.
Right. How many times do we love seeing those upsets of the smaller schools taking down a giant? Who knows? This could be one of those opportunities where a Mountain West school could actually take down maybe a Kansas or a Duke or a situation like that.
Do you guys see an upset?
I think it's too early to say, although I would really like to hope for it. The Fresno State softball team headed to Los Angeles to play a 2 series against CSU Bakersfield and the number 5 team in the nation, UCLA. The series was part of the Stacy Winsberg Memorial Tournament. The Bulldogs won 2 games against the Roadrunners, but lost 2 games against the Bruins. Fresno State will open Mountain West Conference play this weekend at Boise State.
The Diamond Dogs travel to Albuquerque, New Mexico to start conference play. The New Mexico Lobos won Game 1 and Fresno State won Game 2. With the series tied between the Lobos and the Bulldogs, Sunday's game would be the tiebreaker. In the 11th inning, Tommy Hopfe would give the Dogs the lead on a solo home run, until Lobos fought back and hit a walk-off single on the Bulldogs. Fresno State will have its home conference opener this weekend against the Nevada Wolfpack. There are many Fresno natives who have made names for themselves in sports. Today, Alexis Molina talks with Fresno State native Demetrius Porter about his journey to success.
Hello, I'm Alexis Molina here with Fresno native Demetrius Porter. So Demetrius, why did you start playing basketball in the first place?
Well, a lot of my family members started playing, starting with my father, starting with my auntie, who became one of the best female basketball players to come out of Fresno. And so I saw it as a tool and a way for me to get out of my current situation at that time. Growing up on the west side of Fresno, thinking I could use basketball as a way to give me a free education.
So you actually decided to stay in Fresno and go to Fresno State. What was that thought process like? Were you wanting to stay home, or were you ready to go, but you just thought this was the best place for you?
No, I actually wasn't going to go to Fresno State, but my dream was always to play for Coach Tart. And so my senior year, he took the job. And I was like, man, Coach Tart, I got to stay home. And so, you know, when he recruited me, on paper, we had like one of the best teams ever assembled. Like, it was like preseason ranked number 7th. It came down to them at Arizona State for me. And I decided I wanted to stay home and hopefully and try to take Fresno State to the tournament.
So you take it a step further from entrepreneur, and actually a portion of your proceeds go to the youth in Fresno that want to pursue basketball. Can you tell me a little bit about that community work that you do?
So actually, when I got back to Fresno in 2014, I saw a lot of athletes with talent that just wasn't getting scholarships, and I was just wondering, like, why? What is Fresno missing that's stopping our kids from progressing and going on and getting that free education? And so I started a program called Exposure Sports, where, you know, for me, someone saw me play and gave me a platform, so I want to do the same thing for the kids in the Central Valley. We've been doing it for now 7 years and have placed over 70 boys and girls in Division I colleges.
So you do help them out a lot. Is there any advice that you wish you would have got at a young age that you want to give to people watching?
Yes, I think at a young age, I wish I would have been encouraged to think outside the box. I think back in my day, as I was growing up, it was just go to school, get a degree, and go to school. I mean, go to school, get a degree, get a job, and then retire. I think with so much technology, a lot of kids can build their own businesses. If they just think out the box and let their imagination and creativity run free, I think we can get the next Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and some of those guys. Because I just think these kids nowadays are just so much smarter than we were back in our day. So we can't continue to tell them there's only one way to do things, like explore. Especially while you can spend mom and dad money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time, man.
Okay,
I know I speak for everybody when I say thank you for everything that you're doing for our community, especially as a Fresno native.
Yes.
In Fresno, Alexis Molina, Fresno State Focus.
Thank you.
And that's our show.
Thank you for tuning in.
We'll be back next week to bring you more in your weekly focus on sports.